Hi friends, welcome to Kids Time. I'm Rebekah, the Children, Youth, and Family Director here at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Missoula. You know, it's kind of funny to be here at Kids Time with you when it's not a Sunday. But today is a special day called Good Friday. This is the day where we tell the story about Jesus dying on the cross. And I think that that's a really important story, especially because after it comes Easter. And so in order to get to the Easter story, we have to read this story about the day that Jesus died. So I would love to read that story with you. If you have a Spark Bible and would like to follow along, we're near the back and on page 476. It's a story called The Day That Jesus Died. And I'll read it, but if you want to follow along with me, that would be great. It was a very sad day when Jesus died. The soldiers who had arrested Jesus teased him for pretending to be a king. They took his clothes and put a king's purple cloak on him. They made a crown of vines with sharp thorns and put it on Jesus' head. Ouch! The soldiers made Jesus carry a heavy wooden cross. The cross was too heavy for him. Jesus fell and skinned his knees, and the cross tumbled to the ground. A man in the crowd carried the cross the rest of the way. The soldiers nailed Jesus' hands and feet to the cross. They raised Jesus' cross up on a hill between two other men. The other men were thieves, and they were being crucified too. One of the men was angry with Jesus. "If you are a powerful king, can't you save yourself? Why don't you save us too?" The man spat at Jesus. But the other thief believed in Jesus. He shouted back, "Don't you know who this is? This is God's Son. He hasn't done anything wrong. We are being punished for our mistakes, but Jesus shouldn't be here." The man turned to Jesus and asked, "Will you take me to heaven with you?" Jesus looked at the man and loved him. Jesus told him, "Yes, today we will be in heaven together." After a while, the world grew very dark, as if a terrible thunderstorm was coming. It was as if all of creation was crying because Jesus was about to die. Jesus was feeling all alone and prayed to see if God was still there. Of course, God never left Jesus. God was with him the whole time. Jesus looked at the crowd. He was so sad that people didn't believe he was God's son. He asked God to forgive them for killing him. The soldiers offered him some sour wine, but he didn't want to drink it. He was ready to die. Finally, Jesus had fought for long enough. He said, "God, the work you gave me to do here is finished." He breathed a last, final, long, slow breath. And then he died. So why do we tell this story? Why do we have to read the story about Jesus dying? Why don't we just skip it and move on to Easter? Why do we need Good Friday? Well, I think one of the things that we need about this story is we need to know that Jesus is with us, even when things are so painful and so sad and so lonely. If we just skip to Easter with the joy and the flowers and the bright colors and the laughter and the music, if we just skipped right there, we might forget that Jesus knows what it's like to be hurt, to feel pain, and that Jesus stays with us when we get hurt. And when things don't go the way that they should in life, when things are hard, when things are sad, when you're lonely. Jesus knows what that feels like. And God promised in that story to never leave us in those moments when things are hard and sad and lonely. I don't know about you, but I need Jesus to know what it's like. I need Jesus to know what it's like. Because things aren't always just happy and there's laughter and music and flowers. That's just not how things are all the time. So this story of Good Friday tells us, reminds us, that Jesus never leaves us. God never leaves us. Not when things are hard, not when things are sad, not when things are lonely. God is with us always. And that is not the end of the story. We know what comes next, right? We know that after Jesus dies, that Jesus doesn't stay dead. God raises Jesus back to life. And that's the same for us too. That when things are sad and lonely and we get hurt in life, that is not the end of the story. That somewhere in there, God is working. And God will bring the joy and the laughter and the celebration to our lives again. We trust that God will do that. And so that's why we need this Good Friday story. We need to know that Jesus is there even when it's hard. And that God will not let it stay hard forever. That new life is coming. Easter is coming. So, as we wait for Easter to arrive on Sunday, I would invite you tomorrow night on Saturday to join me right back here on this YouTube channel for our Easter Vigil. It's made especially for kids and families, but of course anybody can watch. This Easter Vigil helps us wait for the story of Easter to come. Helps us wait for Jesus to come back to life. And we'll get to do some pretty cool things in that Easter Vigil. So I hope that I will see you there tomorrow night. And remember, if you're doing our Lent activity eggs, remember to open your egg for Good Friday. And then there's one for Easter Saturday, Holy Saturday, and then there's one for Easter morning too. So, if you haven't picked up an egg for a while from your kit, make sure you find that one for Good Friday tonight. Thanks for joining me for Kids Time tonight, and I will see you back here on Saturday, or maybe I'll see you on Sunday. Bye, everybody.